Hello everyone, my name is D. Sanchez Deport and I'm one of the junior architects and illustrators of WTA.
I may jump with me ang itin.
These are the diagrams that I have recently worked on our latest project.
So, what are those urban amenities for?
These urban amenities are for a master plan project in a province south of Metro Manila. One of the defining features of the master plan is that it is situated in a mountainous and forested land area. So when I was working on these diagrams, I tried to visually present it in such a way that I tried to incorporate patches of land.
So roughly around how many square meters or how big an area would you allocate for these amenities?
These spaces don't have to be inherently big in order to become successful, because here at WTA, we have worked on projects in the past that are not that big but are still successful. For example, the bookstop projects, the pop-up libraries, no bigger than 10 square meters. They are small, but they are still successful. They have received multiple awards both locally and internationally, and they are very well received by the communities themselves. So for these spaces, they don't have to be large in order for them to work. What's important is we just have to provide them and make it accessible for everyone.
So it's nice to know that no matter how small a space is, you can work on that little space to achieve certain objectives like enriching people's lives, giving them activities to do, and allowing them to interact with one another. Given that these spaces, there are multiple spaces, and I was wondering, what age group did you have in mind when designing these?
I think when designing urban spaces such as this, you have to consider all sorts of people, not just the young ones, the adults, and the old. You also have to consider the disabled, how are they gonna access the space with their disabilities, and also the other minorities such as the LGBT people. Like, are they gonna be discriminated or feel empowered within these spaces? So there has to be a provision for spaces that will accommodate their individual needs as well as foster interaction between different kinds of people. In this way, we are truly being democratic in designing spaces for the community.
Similarly, I also noticed that you used or you took into consideration different site features or land features such as the topography or the environmental aspects of the place. So give us an example of the different site features of the location that you took into consideration for these sketches of yours.
Since the project is located in a forested and mountainous areas, diba? So we expect it to have lots of trees and wildlife even. When designing such public spaces, I try to incorporate elevated walkways in order for us not to disrupt the environment too much, whilst also allowing the users to feel immersed and learn from their experience without too much intervention from the people. For example, in this diagram, we have provided hanging bridges that goes around the tree and not touching the ground. In this way, we are allowing the wildlife to roam around without being disturbed by the human activities.
Are those deers?
Yes. Sir Will wanted to see deers in the diagram, so I posed. There are deer in the place.
I also like how your forest plaza is big enough to accommodate a lot of people, and yet it's also scenic because it's above all that natural environment.
And there are platforms for you to enjoy the view. Here in Water Plaza, I envision it to be like this. There's multiple elevated pathways above the waterways.
Given how small the area is, and given how minimal building is, intervention there, do you think it would be easy to apply this in various areas around the Philippines and easy for the local government to actually execute? Because I think these kinds of amenities are features that people will really be able to take advantage of.
I think with enough political motivation as well as other helps from the community itself and other stakeholders, yeah, it's definitely possible because it's been done to other places. For example, in Iloilo, they have the famous Esplanade and it's very much well received. In Metro Manila, in Ortigas, they have elevated pedestrian lanes. Yeah, I think it's definitely possible as long as there's a will.
How do you see these urban amenities improve the lives of people in the location?
As we all know naman, as Manileños, we are so deprived of access to public parks and nature reserves. As for the people in the province, they are deprived naman of easy access to social services such as hospitals, the schools, and their workplace. So they have to move to another city in order to access these services. So this project, I believe, will help a lot of people by bringing nature and social services closer to the people. So they don't have to move to a different city and be uprooted from their homes.
Oo.
Labo.
Yun na ba?
Okay, so thanks, Dave.
Ayun na yun.
Let us know if you have any new sketches and any new.
Please like and subscribe to WTA Labs.